Wolfman is a brand new film from director Leigh Whannell starring Christopher Abbott and Julia Garner. And I just got out of a screening for this one, and I honestly have a lot of thoughts. This was a very interesting movie. This will be a spoiler-free review, so don't worry about that. And as always, make sure to go down in the comments section, leave me all of your thoughts on Wolfman. But the synopsis for this film reads, a family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal. But as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable. And I'd imagine you can guess what that unrecognizable thing is. Honestly, going into this film, I had a little bit of hype. You know, I'm not somebody who's obsessed with werewolves. I do love those classic horror stories. I love vampires. I love werewolves. I love Frankenstein. All of that stuff is great, but I just wanted to see a good movie. The thing that piqued my interest the most going into this was seeing that it was directed by the same guy who directed The Invisible Man. I thought that movie was gorgeous. It was a very beautifully shot film, and it was just such a fun adaptation. Like, I loved that movie. Also, if you look back in his filmography, Upgrade. Phenomenal movie. And so I definitely feel like when it comes to a Wolfman movie and you have that director attached to it, I went in with just a tad more excitement than maybe I would have otherwise. And I'd imagine your biggest question is, how was it? Honestly, after sitting through this thing, I would say that I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say that I was over the moon about it, no pun. This movie didn't blow me away, but it followed that similar aesthetic to The Invisible Man where you're watching it and you're like, damn, this is really well shot. This is a pretty thing to look at. It has a very rich and creepy vibe. It also takes place in Oregon. I was born in Portland, Oregon. I do want to say, just a little disclaimer here, if you ever want to go to Oregon, it's beautiful like this movie, and I don't think you're going to run into the same issues that these people do, so don't worry about like wolf people. But I want to talk about the things that I liked, and then I'm going to talk about the things that I didn't like so much. And starting off with the stuff that I liked, again, it's just a beautiful film to look at, but I think the way that it's shot is so unique to this film and so unique to the director that it keeps the movie just going for you. It makes you want to be there to where even in the slow parts of this film, you're entertained enough to not want to check out. There are some really cool things done with the camera in this, as well as just the overall point of view. You have different characters going through different things. There are even moments in this film, obviously Wolfman, you're dealing with like wolves and dogs and things like that you're seeing things through the perspective of a wolf, and it's so freaking cool visually. It's the high point of the movie for me, for sure. It was the thing that I went, okay, that is unique to this film. I love that. Also, I really hope that that's not how my dog sees me, though, because it was scary. But this is a horror film, you know what I mean? And it's supposed to be scary, and I think the film did a good enough job keeping me on the edge of my seat. And although I think some people may complain a bit about the pacing because it is dragged out, and it's a short movie. It has a short runtime, but it still manages to feel a little bit long-winded at time, but that's purely dealing with the time frame that we're dealing with here. And that synopsis, it says, as the night stretches on. Like, a lot of this movie is taking place within a matter of hours, and it keeps you there and it keeps you in that moment. We're not jumping from different time to different time. Like, we're in this with these characters, and it definitely gets tense and wild to just like to experience. I don't know. This is definitely one that you want to see in a theater. I would say perfect for like a Friday, Saturday night type thing. But then we have our performances, and we have Christopher Abbott, and this is an actor that I'm a little bit obsessed with right now because I think he's great. This movie really did it for me. His most recent one that I saw him in was Craven, and he was one of the bright spots of that film, if there were any. But after seeing him in this, he's just the type of actor that commands attention. Like, his presence on screen really does a lot. And his character in this film really had a lot going on. He was able to embody some of the physical transformation stuff really well, and then obviously you have special effects and you have some practical effects in there and stuff like that, but it was really great to see him just as this dad. Like, he played the dad role really well. I think the opposite side, Julia Garner, the character of the mom, that's when things got a little bit weak for me. I just felt like Julia Garner's character was criminally underwritten. The dad and the daughter have a really sweet relationship, and that's something that you very much latch onto, and they make sure you as the audience member are gonna latch onto that. But when it comes to the mom, she's the second part of this family, and you just feel like you don't know her at all. And so I felt like that was a little bit weak, and there were definitely some writing issues within this thing that just left me hanging a little bit in a way that maybe The Invisible Man didn't. At the end of the day, this is a movie about a wolf man, so I don't expect it to be like the greatest thing on earth. I don't expect the writing to be top tier, but when things stand out and are a little bit jarring. Like, yeah, you can tell. Like, there were definitely some moments in this film that I found myself maybe rolling my eyes a little bit. Really, besides that, I think the way that everything wraps up is perfect. I think the story structure is great, and I very, very much enjoyed the Wolfman. I enjoyed this werewolf aspect to it in a time that we really see werewolves as like Jacob.
Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?
Where the hell have you been, Loca?
This film is so far from that, and again, it takes you back to that classic vibe of Wolfman. This is just a person that straight up turns into a wolf, and it is frightening and it is visceral. There are a lot of really bloody and raw and gross moments, but also just the way that they pay attention so much to like a wolf's senses and what that transition period for a Wolfman would look like. It's a lot of fun. I think people are really going to enjoy it. I have seen a couple things online because let's be real here, the trailer showed everything. So if you've seen the trailer for this movie, it doesn't even matter if I say spoiler free or spoiler or not, because you've already been spoiled. You know what this Wolfman looks like, and I've already seen people criticize the way that the Wolfman looks. Personally, I didn't have a problem with it because I'm not a stickler for what a Wolfman is supposed to look like. I don't know what people are referencing and if they really needed something extra on top of what we already get in this film, but I really just think that overall, this was a very fun movie. For a January horror film, this exceeded any and all expectations I would have about a movie this early on in the year. I think people should get out and see it. I hope you guys get out and see it, and please let me know down in the comments what you think about it because, yeah, I don't know. Like I said in the beginning, this one's an interesting one. I'm very curious to hear others' perspectives, but as for mine, I want to give my Jones Vibe star rating, and I am giving Wolfman 3.5 out of 5 stars. The writing wasn't perfect. There were some performance things here and there, but hey, I had a good time, dog. But once again, leave me all your thoughts down in the comments and keep up the good vibes, my friends. Peace!